reminded you that you are perfect, would you argue me down or step into your perfection? Welcome to Perfect Mode, where there are no excuses, no expectations, and we explore the world without limitations. I'm Jay Clay, rapper, the spiritual teacher, with my co-host Troy Washington, your friendly neighborhood realtor. Let's be real, so let's be perfect. Perfect mode. Everything, anything, anything, perfect. Everything, anything, perfect mode. Everything, anything, perfect mode. Everything, anything, perfect mode. Perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode. Everything, anything, perfect mode, perfect mode. Everything, anything, perfect mode. Perfect.
What up? Welcome to Perfect Mode. And first off, let me start by telling y'all that we love y'all. We're grateful for the opportunity to be anywhere, sharing our thoughts, hopefully, and helping you realize that you are perfect. And the reason why I can say that unapologetically is because I know that you are one of one, numero uno. You cannot be replicated, duplicated. And the only reason, and I mean the only reason you would think otherwise is if you're looking at this person on the side of you and saying, I'm not them. But guess what? You are you, and that's all you need. And of course, it's yours truly, Troy Washington, your friendly neighborhood realtor. And I have my boy Jay Clay, spiritual rapper and teacher. Just know he got music out for y'all right now. Just in case you don't know, make sure you log on and grab that. And of course, today we about to jump on and talk about the real reason you feel unfulfilled and how to fix it. What up, Jay?
Yo, happy Sunday to all my perfect people out there in the perfect time, at the perfect place, in perfect land, in this perfect world of ours. Yes, it is perfect. We're going to help you see the perfection of it all. And yeah, man, it's a beautiful day, beautiful Sunday. Happy to do this. Happy to be back on these wonderful Sundays. And yeah, we got a good topic. When I was getting this stuff together for this, I was like, man, it's a good topic.
So I guess in kicking this thing off, when you first saw this topic, what were you thinking? What came across your mind?
Well, so one thing I like to. One thing I'm appreciative of is the wording for this. It says like the real reason you feel unfulfilled, not that you are unfulfilled, because like you can truly never be unfulfilled, but you can feel it. You can make yourself believe certain things, and it's really not that hard to get back to it. It's just we kind of have a backwards value system. We place value in things that we really never wanted to value in the first place, and then we wonder why it's a struggle to uphold this value, because it's like you're almost like forcing yourself to live a life you don't want to live when you already know the life you want to live, but maybe for some reason it could be fear or just misalignment that you think that you can't live it, and we're here to say you can.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah, and I will say that you can, like my boy just said. And I will tell you, the first thing that came to my mind when I first saw it was, how would you feel unfulfilled? Like, I literally was thinking to myself, what reason or what would cause me to feel unfulfilled? And the reason why I say it that way, or specifically that way, is because I think about life just in general. And what I mean is, we wake up, whether we set the intention or not, but we wake up intentionally to do things every day. And we can go through our entire day. We can go through our entire week. We can go through our entire month just doing things. And if you are not setting the intention, in a sense, because there is intention that's being set, either somebody's setting it for you, history is setting it for you, your family is setting it for you, but if you're not setting the intention, then you just end up doing a bunch of things. And so you're feeling something, but you feel unfulfilled because it's not what you see for yourself. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, like usually that the unfulfillment feelings come when, like you said, actually, for me, the times that I have noticed them whenever I had felt that back in the day was like when you come across somebody who is fulfilled and you see it, like they're just in their bag. They're just doing them for the sake of doing them. They're happy. They're successful in their field. They're just doing everything that they love. And you can see it. It's oozing off of them. Everyone they come in contact with is feeling like just the vibration off of them. And it's almost like, dang, I want that. And then you start looking at your life from a different lens. Like, yeah, I have, like you said, just been going, just been doing. I'm almost on autopilot. I haven't even realized why I'm doing this or the intent behind it. I haven't even stopped to just even acknowledge what I'm doing or where I'm headed or where I think I'm headed to even know if I'm being fulfilled or not. And so all those things come into play, and we may look at them with a negative lens because it's like, man, I'm not there yet. But even though you're in many ways, you're right where you're supposed to be. But yeah, go ahead.
You know, it was funny about your indication light of when it's funny because I felt that before. That's what's funny. But the other thing is, for me, the trigger for me is repetition, uncomfortable repetition. I was trying to think of the best way to explain it. But what I mean is when you get on autopilot and it gets boring, right? When you're on autopilot and it's boring, because in my own mind, even things that you have intentionality behind and you can be on autopilot with, there's a sense of seeking. Put it like this, I guess not seeking. There's always a joy about what you're doing, versus saying, "Oh, I'm about to do this again." And again, I said that to say that even things that fulfill us can be things that we are autopilot with, but there's just a different feeling that you have about it. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, like the simplest things really do bring us the most joy. But we start giving into these beliefs that in order to be fulfilled, you have to do X, Y, Z. But then you do X, Y, Z, and you're like, nah, man, I'm not feeling fulfilled. But then you trick yourself into believing, well, I'll be fulfilled later. I'll be fulfilled later. If I just do this, if I just do that, I'll be fulfilled later. And later can never come because it's always later. Like you're always here and now. And the thing is, how do I say this? It really comes down to our belief system. Like feeling unfulfilled allows us to look at what we truly value, what we hold dear to our hearts, and why are we afraid to move in that direction if we aren't already? Because when we are, like when you're fulfilled and you see other fulfilled people, you're happy. Like it doesn't bother you at all. Like you are truly happy for that person. Like, man, look at them. That's what I'm talking about. Do that. I love that you're doing that. I love that you're stepping into that. But when you're not feeling that way and you see somebody happy like that, is one of the worst things. And you compare yourselves to them, which we know we should never compare ourselves to anyone. But it's our ego saying like, yeah, you're this age, you should have this by now. What's wrong with you? Why don't you have this? Why aren't you doing this? You've been doing this for how long? You want to switch careers? You want to do all that? And we're making it seem like it's this big thing, but it's not. And we can easily switch from that.
So I had two thoughts that came to my head, and I don't want to stray too far away from what we're doing, but it's just what I hear. So number one, and I love this point because I think that it goes whether you feel like you're too old or you feel like you're too young. And one of the things you said, I feel like I'm too old or I should have already have done this by now, right? So that's the first point that I want to make. And again, that's either for old or young. It doesn't matter how old you truly are. It's just that based off of my age, this I should have started, I should be done, or I should be in my prime of it, no matter what, right? And I guess the reason why I point those things out is because one of the biggest things that we do in life is try to age all things. Like we try to put an age on all things. And funny enough, and I'm gonna use music as an example, using as us, right? Since I was a kid, there was an age on how long you should be able to rap. It's just point blank period, right? There is also a such thing as an age that you should be able to make music. Even though there is all the evidence in the world that people do these things beyond the ages that people have set, right? I'll use basketball also as an example. LeBron James, my favorite player of all time. What I've seen watching basketball as much as I have my entire life, players wind down at an age. It's like it's automatic. It's like, okay, right now I'm at the age where I should be winding down because at this age is when it's supposed to stop. even though there's evidence, whether you use LeBron, you use Robert Parrish, you use Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, all of these people that have done it before you, but yet and still, because of this age, I have to dwindle down. I got to start decelerating myself, right? And again, these are the type of things that make you feel unfulfilled because everything in you is telling you to keep going. Everything in you is telling you I feel good here, but yet and still, because of parameters that have been set, I'm going to decelerate who I am. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, and even using basketball as an example, like you look at somebody as decorated as Michael Jordan, his first 3 championships were different because even he believed in the wear down, but that he didn't let that deter him because he was like, well, my mind is sharper than ever. I know this game. I don't even have to do all of that effort. And the same thing about, anybody watching this that feels like age is a catalyst. Like, no, you have so much wisdom and you will do things in such a way that others wouldn't do it, which makes that unique to you, which makes that like you're uniquely suited for that you want to step into. And even that one thing I want to talk about to that is we often prioritize what doesn't actually matter to us. Like, and again, like in the reason to feel unfulfilled. And I guess an example would be like, let's say you want to do a podcast, right? And you'd be like, what's an example? I don't have an intro song right now. I can't release a podcast. I don't have an intro song like Perfect Mode. Like what? The intro song doesn't matter. Like you have wisdom to give. You have a unique perspective to share, or you have guests you want to interview and get their perspective. That has nothing to do with that. Like do what matters to you. Do what feels you. Like we make music, so it was only natural that we would have a music intro. But that's just a mild example. It's all across the board. Focus on what matters to you. But go ahead.
So it's 2 things. So keep that up though. Keep you're prioritizing, right? Because I want to touch on the Michael Jordan example that you gave. And again, to me, that is the prime example of being unfulfilled. And so you're right. When he won this championship that you're talking about, he went off to either retire or do something different, right? And then this is what I imagine. Of course, I don't know this, but this is just me, imagining even other people outside of him. There was a sense of loss for him. He felt like he was missing something. These are indicators that'll show you. And again, no, he's one of the richest people in the world. He can have anything he wants. He have, kids. He got all of this stuff. But yet and still, he was still yearning for that basketball. And so he's able to come back because he felt empty in a sense, right? And then when he came back and I can use the back end of his career, though we had all these expectations for him and how to perform and what they should do, and he should win 3 more and all this different stuff, his mentality could have been there, but when that slipped beyond him, he still was fulfilled because he was still doing what he wanted to do. That's number 1. And then number 2, when we come back to prioritizing what doesn't actually matter to you, that should be the trigger for yourself to realize what your purpose is. Using the podcast as the example, you're saying that I want to create a podcast, but for what reason? And then if you can remember what that reason is, all those things that you're prioritizing won't matter anymore. Because if my mission is I experienced something in my life and I want to make sure everybody knows not to go through this anymore. That's what I want to do no matter what. And I got to do it in podcast format. Now the camera, the lighting, none of that matters because my entire purpose is to prevent anybody walking down the path that I walk down. And so I can't allow things to prevent me from moving forward, for fulfilling myself in the way that I know how. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, and then another example I want to give to this prioritizing things that don't actually matter are like the news, right? You don't need to know all the news. You don't need to know what's going on with other people. You don't. You simply you're like, no, it affects me what they do in the world because it's gonna trickle down to this. I gotta be up on this. I gotta know. Like, no, you don't. As someone who hasn't watched the news in hundreds of thousands of years, it feels like you don't need to know it. It is a distraction. It will get you to maybe not trust people, not trust yourself, to fear your fellow neighbor instead of love them and work with them. They might have something you need, but you fear them because you watched this one story that happened to these people on the other side of the world or something, and you're internalizing it to yourself. It doesn't matter to you. Like like if you're gonna look at news in the field of what you're exploring, and but actually not even that. look for news in the positivity way, in the positiveness of what you're exploring. Like, because you could look up 10 ways podcast failed. Like, no, look up 10 ways podcast succeed. And this is just for the podcast example, but whatever you're doing, that is what you can tune into. But all this other stuff is just a distraction.
So, you know, I'm going to co-sign you 100% on this with one caveat. And the reason why I co-sign you is because I don't watch the news either. Yeah. And it's specifically for the reason that you said. But what I would say is, if there's purpose in it for you, if it's going to fulfill you, and again, I'm going to give you a specific scenario only because I don't know all the scenarios in the world, right? Because I don't know what everybody needs. But I just assume, based off people that I've been around, they're not fulfilled watching the news. They're just trying to know what's going on. But if you're a person that wants to be a newscaster and you're trying to identify the way that things should be presented, figure out structure, now you have a reason, you have a purpose for it. And again, this is just my own opinion of that. But I'm just saying, I agree with you, J. Clay, because at the end of the day, what I found for myself when I watch the news and you talk about feeling unfulfilled, I feel myself with a bunch of things that don't matter. And that's the point that you're making with the title that you just gave us. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. Let's keep it going. Like another reason you feel unfulfilled is you're following rules you never agreed to. Now this can have many meanings and it's many things we can go into, but one in particular is like, I noticed that people would uphold rules or enforce rules that they didn't agree with. Like they just did it just because it was done to them. Well, that's what was done to me. That's just how to do it. Like, you didn't enjoy this. Why are you trying to enforce someone to do it this way? Why are you trying to like force this upon them? Because you're keeping yourself in this space. Like a lot of times, you know, people believe an action deserves punishment or something. Like it could have been on accident or whatever. You got to be punished. You got to do this. You don't enjoy punishment in any way. What do you, or unless you might truly learn something from punishment. Me, I learned I'm not going to share certain things with certain people because they feel the need to punish, or I don't know. Just it might not be the lesson that you intended to learn for the reason of that. Like I see that with people talking about parenting. I'm not a parent, but I see people, talking about parenting their kids a certain way. They need this, they need that. Like, how do you know? Like you don't. This could be an isolated incident. It's so many things, but I say this to say, be mindful of the rules you enforce because you could be holding yourself in that. So that now you have to live through it. And then your life is like, why is my life full of pain and punishment? Is because you want to punish everybody else. So anything you do that you don't think is perfect, you punish yourself for.
What's funny about this part, bro, like following rules you never agreed to. And I'm going to tell you about something that happened to me today, leaving the basketball game. But I'll start by saying this. We have a running joke in my house. And whenever we watching shows, whenever you're watching the scene in the show and a dramatic effect happens where somebody's arguing or something crazy happens, I always tell Chardonnay, you already know if that was happening while I was there, I would be that person that would just be sitting right there looking like this. I would just be, I mean, you're doing it in public. I don't have any reason to run no guns or anything. So I'm going to be tuned in, right? Yeah. And so we always joke about it because she'd be like, why would you just sit right there and watch them? Because they want everybody to see, right? But what happened today was, bro, when we were leaving the basketball game, we pulled up into this gas station in Oklahoma, and it's called Quick Trip or something, Q-Tip or something like that, right? And I'm pumping gas, and while I'm pumping gas, there's a guy who walks out the store. He's an old guy. He got to be in his 70s, right? And he have on some shorts and a belt and a shirt, and his pants are slowly sliding down. Now I'm looking from where I'm at. They slide down. I was like, oh man, his pants finna fall all the way down. Like them must finna fall. And she looked and she's like, nah, he just wearing like that. I was like, nah, I saw them much slide down. And so what happens is they was just about to drop, and he grabs them and pull them up, and then he looks around to look and see if anybody was looking at it. But you know what I was doing? I was just looking, right? And Chardonnay, she looked at me and she turned away because she didn't want him to see her looking, right? Now, these are the rules that we never agreed to, right? Yeah. There's no rule that I have to stop looking at anything that's right in front of me. And I'm not going to act like I'm feel any type of way about it, right? And then she said, well, you're supposed to stop looking because he's going to feel more embarrassed. Well, she said, don't you feel embarrassed? And I said, what I need to feel embarrassed for? My pants ain't falling down. And she said, well, he's going to feel more embarrassed. And I said, how do you know he's going to feel more embarrassed? I wouldn't feel more embarrassed. My pants fell down. And so it's just funny how, again, these are the type of things that are going on around us all the time, dictating our actions, dictating how we feel. And we get caught up in it. And that's the reason why, again, to me, that was one of the funniest moments. Even the point of him looking at me, look at him. You know what I mean? It made my day. So, it's just one of those examples. But go ahead, Jay.
And the truth is, it probably made his too, because now he's like, man, my pants fell down and somebody saw me. I looked around, somebody saw me, they saw me. And so, like, but yeah, but it's true. Like, I feel the same way. Like when people talk extra loud in a quiet setting, they want to be heard. Like I haven't done this in a long time, but I have done it before where somebody was just on the phone and I didn't know. I'm like, what happened? Like just because you loud, like if you bringing that in here, obviously you want somebody to talk to, and I'm feeling that type of way today, so I'm with it.
And two, the other parts of this, again, these are just examples, but that's where the photo bum comes from. Think about how many times me and you jumped in somebody's photo. Now, the reality of it is the rules of the rest of the world, nobody wants you to do that in a sense, right? But at the same time, it's one of those things that make our life fun, right? Yeah. When we went to Disney World in March, me and my family, we were walking into Animal Kingdom, and they have this big tree of life thing that's out there. And everybody's trying to take pictures in front of it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to take the selfie, and we all get together. And the lady was like, hey, you want me to take the picture for y'all? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. So she takes the picture, but she takes a picture of herself first, right? Now, this is funny. I don't know that she take the picture herself. She take the picture herself, then she take a picture of us, right? So then I was like, well, you want me to take a picture of your family too? And she was like, yeah. So when she gets there, not knowing that she did it, I took a picture of myself first, then I took a picture of her family, right? And so I told her, I was like, yeah, I took a picture of myself. You know what I'm saying? She's like, that's crazy. And then I scrolled through my pictures and I saw her too. And again, this is something that you would think that you're not supposed to do. But there's an amount of joy that me and this lady and maybe her family did out of this because we agreed to abide by what made it happen in the moment. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, you and it works the other way too. Like you won't believe how many times maybe someone has adamantly said a rule or something like you got to do this or something, and in my head I'm like, I ain't doing that. I'm not trying to get into no arguments. I'm not about to argue with you and tell you that I'm not going to do it. But in my mind, I know, nope. There's nothing you can do to make me try to, I don't know, to enforce this rule. I can't think of a real life example right now, but I just remember growing it up. And even sometimes to this day, like the seriousness of people, it's something about me and like people that are too serious. I got to like pick at it a little bit because that's the rules that I didn't agree to or I agreed to. But I said it to say that live your rule. You don't even got to tell people the rule that you're living, but live the rule you want to live and don't try to enforce the other stuff that you have no business living or that you don't even care about.
I got to repeat what you said, and I'm going to read the topic one more time. The reason you feel unfulfilled and how to fix it. Jay Clay just said, live your rule. And the other part to that, this is a key to it. You don't got to tell nobody, right? So like, and again, this is just how I perceive the world. When you start telling people your rule, you're wanting them to abide by your rule. You wanting them to fit within your scope of how the world should work. And I'm saying this because I've been a culprit of it. I've been a person that have emphasized, I ain't even gonna say tell somebody rule. I've been a person that has emphasized my rule. This is why this feels this way. This is why this is that good. But another freeing thing, when you feel unfulfilled, you can feel unfulfilled by making this rule somebody else's rule too, right? And the times when I felt the freest is number one, when I didn't tell nobody my rule and I didn't feel like somebody else had to abide by my rule because I was completely free in those moments. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, like people be trying to say do as I say and not as I do, but like nah, like you got to live your own rule. Like if you're gonna tell somebody your rule, you got to live it, or it has no power. It means nothing. So the next thing when you feel unfulfilled is you've been trained to want things that don't satisfy you. Man, how many times have I seen this? Like that's one thing I'm grateful for, that I always wanted what I wanted, whether other people wanted it or not, or whether it's a million people wanted this other thing. I don't want that. Like I've always been secure in my wants or desires that I'm grateful for. But I've seen it so many times where people are trying to fulfill that status quo of certain things, and it's like you don't even want that. Like why do you breaking your back trying to live this way? That's not even what you want.
You know what's funny, bro? And to me, my life, and I think everybody, you know what I'm saying? These things that we're talking about, we all experience in some kind of way. But again, I just gave you a story about, me, having to try to operate within somebody else's rules. But here's another example from today. You've been trained to want things that don't satisfy you. And I'm using these examples because I want us to all see how they can fly under the radar and you don't even recognize them. On this same trip, when we were leaving from the gas station, after we were joking about the man pants falling down, right? We knew that we were going to go get some breakfast. It's morning time. We're going to stop somewhere at some restaurant and get some breakfast. And then as we're driving, we trying to decide on where to go, and we decide. And I said, well, you know what? We're going to get y'all what y'all want. And then when I get to the house, I'm just going to get some noodles. Right. And my wife looked at me. She was looking like, noodles? Right. And I was like, yeah. And she said, so you're going to eat noodles this early in the morning? And I was like, yes. And she's like, but it's breakfast time. I know. And again, this was not serious between us, but I literally said to her, I said, so I have to eat what y'all want to eat in order for y'all to be good. Okay. Like, that's what we're doing out here today. And, again, this was not even that serious. It's just my wife wanting me to eat out like everybody else. But at the end of the day, I knew what I wanted. And a lot of times when you know what you want, there's going to be outside forces that are going to try to move you in a different direction. But you got to stand firm. I knew what I wanted. It wasn't no deviation. And I could have easily, and the funny part about it is, as we were driving, I thought to myself, maybe I should get something Cane's, right? But the reality was me knowing myself, no, get what you want, because then you're going to feel happy. And along that path, I had no problem. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, and even to your point, I've done what you said, where I was like, fine, I'll eat this. And what happened? Felt unfulfilled. But I'm full and it's just wasted. I just got to wait till this meal goes away. But I still want what I want, because that hasn't changed. Like, I still want that as my next meal or whatever, just because I didn't fulfill my want the right way. And yeah, and again, I don't know why we do that to ourselves. I don't know why I did that. Maybe we think it's something noble about it, like foregoing our wants for someone else. Because it's not that we're sacrificing theirs. Like, we're saying, still get what you want, still do what you want to do. I just want to do this as well. And I'm in full support of you doing what you want to do.
But this is what's cool too about this thing, though, right? And I'm gonna use you and I as an example. There was a time where you were coming down to my house probably every 2 weeks, at least. You were just doing that mud, right?
Yeah.
And for everybody listening, we were recording ciphers and things of that nature, just putting out content, and we were content providers then. FYI. But anyway, I knew at this time, and you are now, but I knew Jay Clay was vegan at this time. Now, this is a case of, I wanted to make sure all the time that when he came to kick it with me, he did what he wanted, or he did the thing that satisfied him when it came to eating. Simple, right?
Yeah.
But this was the caveat to that. I think, and again, this is not something that me and him ever talked about prior to this conversation right now, but I think that my intention being said, again, I wasn't going to sacrifice who I was, but I was going to make sure that I made his trip easier, since he was sacrificing coming from his house to my house, right? But even yet and still, every time we picked a restaurant, he made sure that I had what I wanted to. And again, the reason why I point that out is because he was so set in himself. I won't say that I had to fold, but I had to find a common ground. And the reason why I paint that picture is that whenever you are, when you're not doing what you've been trained to do, other people around you will do the same, and you will find a median that you can be satisfied and fulfill yourself. But go ahead, Jay.
And just to clarify to those listening, like we stay in 2 different cities. So it was like I was doing like a 4-hour drive every trip, like every 2 weeks because we were doing like we had our whole record label, everything. But I want to say too, like a key word, and you've been trained to want things that don't satisfy you. That word trained. Trained. So it's like, who trained me? How was I trained? What was I trained by? What was I trained to do? And were they the right trainer for me? Like this art that I'm trained in, is this what I want? Does this truly fulfill me? And am I afraid to break free from it because this is all I know? This is who I think I am. But you're not just that. As we can give countless examples, even everybody's life has countless examples of them stepping into a new paradigm of themselves and surprising themselves about what they're capable of. So even if you did something for 100 years and you don't want to do it at 101, don't.
And I would say that even to Jay Clay's point, who trained me, to recognize that you're always being trained. It doesn't stop. That's the reason why you can't step into a new paradigm, is because there's always some kind of training going on. And then there's also a concrete reaffirming in all of it within yourself. And so you identifying either you're being trained or what you've been trained, you being able to, analyze that and recognize that you can make whatever adjustments that you need to make before it's concrete for real. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, and I want to pause and just ask an audience a question. It's kind of rhetorical, or just to yourself. But if no one was watching, what would you do differently? And just for myself, how this question was important. I remember it was a time when like with the music, it was hard to get it out there. Like we didn't have enough views or eyes on it, which is very discouraging. But I found that even with that, I'm gonna make music anyway. Like even if nobody's watching, that's just what I enjoy doing. That's just what fulfills me. So I learned a valuable lesson. Like, man, I wouldn't do anything differently if no one was watching, because I've actually had that, and here I am still doing this. But I'm grateful for all those that watch now. Yeah.
So this is gonna be kind of contradictory, but here's the deal. Nobody's ever watching you, and the thing is, and I say this because, okay, let me come back.
No, I know what you're saying. Go ahead.
I know you know what I'm saying. Somebody's always watching you, but nobody's ever watching you, right? And the thing that you want to train yourself or recognize it within yourself is the fact that you're setting the stage, right? The thing that you might think people are watching you do, they're only looking for the end result anyway. That's number one, right? And so, if you think that no one's ever watching you, you can start to identify what you're actually doing. You can start to see, what am I doing? Because we get so caught up in the habit of doing stuff, critiquing ourselves based off what we think other people are thinking, when nobody's even paying attention to what's going on, right? And that's one of the reasons why we come to these halts or these stopping points or these points of reflection that are not always even necessary. Though I think that you should always be reflecting your way through things. But when I say the point of reflection is from a negative standpoint, trying to convince yourself why you shouldn't be moving forward, or why you're not happy, or why you're not fulfilled. And so if no one was watching you, nobody's ever watching you, what should you do differently now to fulfill yourself, so that way when people start watching this, the example that you're trying to make or the point you're trying to prove is proven? But go ahead, Jay.
I love that you brought that up, that no one is really watching, because it's true. Like you said, people either want the end result or what you can do for them. Like it's all about yourself. And I'm just thinking about even people I follow on social media. There's a lot of people I follow and that I love when their videos come across, but I'm not necessarily just looking for their video unless it's been like months and something popped in my head. Like, man, I wonder what so-and-so was up to. Then I might look, but I'm not watching. And I don't think anybody watches anybody that much. It's what's fulfilling to you. Like on your timeline of things, it comes up what resonates with you and what you enjoy at that particular time. But yeah, It's true. Nobody is really watching anyone except for the second that you present yourself to be watched. And so, yeah, we shouldn't let that stop us. So I love that you brought that up.
And to your point, bro, like there is not enough time in the world for somebody to watch you that much.
Yeah.
It's just imagine you sacrificing yourself to just pay attention to something. Like nobody has that kind of time. But go ahead, Jay. My bad.
No, you good. So this one is like the last one about you've been trained to want things that don't satisfy you. Also, you keep performing for a life you don't even want to live. Man, like, hey, you know, when I used to be in the job force, that was me. And I worked with people who love their jobs too. And I was amazed by that. Like, man, they actually love this. And I wasn't in that part, but the fix was simple. Live the life you want to live. But I was crippled by fear, which isn't real anyway. But at the time, I thought it was very weird. Like, man, what about this? What if this? But when I instantly decided to live the life I want to live, things started to change. Things started to align. And I've made that promise to myself that that's the one thing I will do. Sometimes I find ways that I'm not. I'm like, oh, snap, I'm not even doing what I want. Let me shift this here. But it's I would advise everyone to at least try it for yourself.
So this is funny, and I'm gonna bring basketball into it, but I'm gonna bring my life into it as well. Keep performing. You keep performing for a life you don't want to live. One of the biggest things in my life that I would now call a hindrance was my sensation and need to debate people. I used to always want, like, I had the debate ready for you. But the funny thing is, I would think to myself when I was debating people, a lot of the times that they were wrong and I was right. And I still had to make them agree with me. And I would start to think to myself, a lot of times, why am I doing this? Because I don't want to do it. I just don't want to do this much. And I one day just stopped. And again, that doesn't mean I quit cold turkey, because I still do it today. But the point is, I recognized that this was not the life that I wanted to live, number one. I recognized that it was intertwined in my life so heavily that I could almost not control it, because I would debate about anything. And then I changed it as fast as I possibly could. And again, there's always remnants of it still lingering within your life. Because even now, my kids can say something or my wife can say something, and I will start, and then I would just think to myself, that's not what I want to do. So I just stopped. I literally would just quit. And one of the things that is a big thing, like, you know, I love basketball. And, you know, I would have debated anybody about LeBron James. It's just point blank, period.
Yeah.
And one day I heard Gilbert Arenas say, you cannot, if you know something about somebody and somebody can make you debate it, then you're not sure, right? And he said, there are, and this was his point that he's making, he said there are some true Michael Jordan fans out there, and if you talk to them, all they'll tell you about is Michael Jordan. They'll talk to you about Michael Jordan. They don't have to bring anybody else into the equation. Then there are people who are not sure. And the only thing that they'll ever do is talk about other people other than Michael Jordan, though they're saying they're caping for Michael Jordan. So what they'll say is, LeBron is this, LeBron is this, LeBron is this, or Kareem is this, Kareem is this, and Kareem is this. But they never talk about Michael Jordan. And the reason why is because they're not sure. And so they're performing. And again, the truth of the matter, all they want is you to realize how great Michael Jordan is. But they're performing for a life that they don't even want. And so that was one of those recognizing factors to me in all things. Like, I can say how I feel and you can feel different. And I don't have to debate you because that's not the life I want to live. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, to say it another way, let's say people want to be healthy or no health. Instead of talking about health, they talk about all the diseases and how to stay away from them. Like, that's just going to put you in the world of more disease. Like, speak on what you want. That world expands. It brings you closer to it. But also, to your point about like performing for a life people don't want to live, anger. Have you ever been around those people that, like, they just can't wait to be angry? that it almost becomes comical, because it's like, bro, it's not that serious. Like you just ready to just overreact because you're putting on a performance right now. You love being angry, and so you act like it's the worst possible thing. Or there's some people who love being sad. They love the attention they get from being felt sorry for, because they may confuse it for love, and they're putting on this performance. And it's like you don't have to react to every situation. This is why these situations are coming, because you step into that joy that you don't even realize that you light up when bad things happen, because now you can be this angry or sad or whatever person that you don't want to live. And you want to be happy. Everybody wants to be happy. And you're happy when you performing it. You're like, man, I'm look at me. I'm smiling right now. I'm putting on my performance, but it's an authentic performance because this is the life that I want to live. Go ahead.
Funny. I love the fact that you brought up anger. And the reason why is because I have been around plenty of people who have said, Troy, I don't like them, with the expectation of you can't like them too. And when you talk about you keep performing for a life you don't even want to live, because whatever ramifications you feel like you might be responsible for, you know what I'm saying, or might happen to you. It's been plenty of times where people told me they didn't like somebody and they expected me not to like them too. And even the thought of it made my stomach hurt. Even the thought of it made me sick, because that's not what I want. Now, associating with somebody is a whole different story. And again, you can paint the picture however you want to, but I could never wanted to ever be mad at somebody because somebody else was mad. Because essentially that is a domino effect. That's the reason why you can't be angry for no reason, or the anger, you're practicing a habit that's not even real to you. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. I'm gonna go a little deeper here on this part of the topic, but it's similar. So like putting on a performance, acting, like, we all heard the thing, faith without action is dead. Faith without action. Every time you act, you're acting. You're an actor. You're an actress. You're taking action. And so it's almost like, okay, we've heard that we're consciousness, right? But what is consciousness? You can't really see it. You can't really just say it's just this. You can't put a face on it. But when you look at all the billions of faces of all the people across the world, that gives you a greater idea of what conscious is, the face of it, because we are all the face of it. We are all acting out these things. And I say that to say that, like, this whole thing is a game. This whole thing is a play, and we get to pick our part. We get to play the role we want to play. And once we assume that role, the whole world and everyone around us would treat us according to that. And the key is you can change roles anytime you want. You could flip-flop. Like, and there are many people who flip-flop so fast that they wondering why they can't get farther, is because you're kind of living in two different opposite worlds. But you don't even realize it. Like, you're saying, I want to be happy, but then you're reacting angrily to all these other things. Or you say you want peace and you're ready to fight for all of these things. I got to fight for peace. I got to fight for my right to, like, no, man, if you want peace, just chill and you can have it. And so there's a lot of flip-flopping and performing on both sides, where what you want, you never really seem to get to. You feel unfulfilled because you're not choosing a side. You're not choosing a role to really fulfill and enhance. And so yeah, I just wanted to share that.
No, I love it, because the first thing that came to my mind when you said it was, what are you acting like? And the question that you should, or the answer to that should be, you're acting like you. You're not acting like anyone else or what anyone else thinks or what you think anyone expects from you. You should be acting like you. If you're going to act, because you're going to act, right? You're going to, you're leaving something behind, right? You're showing somebody a way. And the question that you always want to ask yourself is, are you acting like you? But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, man. And as we know, fulfillment isn't found in goals, it's found in alignment. And you can have a goal. I mean, you can have a goal for alignment, but that alignment is when you know, like, when you know you're living you, like you said, like when you know that you're living for you, you're living according to you, to your blueprint of what you enjoy, you really feel fulfilled. And goals are just like icing on the cake. It doesn't matter. I'm here right now. Like I'm where I want to be. And that's more fulfilling than any goal that I could barely see far away. Even before this, I was thinking about something like, I don't know if there's a difference between wants and desires, but like how I consider wants are something that, yeah, I like that. You know, if it happens,
Right.
it happens. But I'm not gonna step into that. I'm not gonna really move forward. But desire is something like, yeah, I'm gonna step into this. I'm gonna act like that. I'm gonna take action toward this. This is the face that I'm gonna put on because this is my desire, and I want to live in concert with my desire. And that's what that alignment is. And so like the rest of the goals, it's just wants. It's just like, yeah, I'll get that. But the desire, that's the true alignment, so to speak.
You know, I'm glad that this is pointed out about the goals. Um, and that doesn't mean that you can't find alignment when you're working towards your goals. But what's funny is I think about what this makes me think about is sometimes I could be working on something. And again, I don't even know if this is something that I'm aligned to do. Maybe it's something that I'm just doing because I feel like I have to do it, right? And then somebody could come around me and say, Troy, who played in this movie? Right? And I'll be like, okay, I'll look it up in a minute. And then I'll start trying to do whatever it is I'm trying to do, but that thing is ringing in my head. I wonder who that was in that movie. And there's a feeling that I get swept away in that thought. And then eventually I'll say, you know what? Nobody's asked me about it, but let me go ahead and look this up real quick because I have to know. And again, I'm not saying this is what alignment is, but I'm showing you, to me, that's a description of what alignment is. Like alignment led me to do what I really wanted to do in that moment. And it didn't mean I couldn't get back to my goal at that time, but I made the shift because I knew that once I looked up who this was in this movie, there was going to be a sense of satisfaction because now I feel happy that I know. I can tell whoever asked me, and then I can go back to what I was doing refreshed, right? And so I think that a lot of times that alignment is in our face, but we push it to the side because we feel like this goal is more important than being aligned. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, it's like we are to be kids. Things are going to take our attention that we enjoy, that we're enthusiastic about, that fills us with joy. I mean, I know that other things are fighting for our attention that aren't that joyful, that we sometimes let be there. But like you said, like you can do whatever you are doing refreshed now because you've aligned with that desire. And when you align with it, you just have so much more energy. Like, oh yeah, I can do this right now. I can do this. Like right now I'm in a space where I haven't been sleeping as much as I have, but it's just because enthusiastic ideas have just been coming around bedtime, and it's just like I'm not finna go to sleep doing it. I'm about to fulfill this. I'm gonna move here, work on this, do this. Like it's so much cool stuff, and I haven't been tired. Like I have not. Like I thought maybe before, like I could go to bed, but then the desire comes, tiredness is gone. So it's like nothing. There's nothing greater than that. Like you can out desire your tiredness where you don't even know you're not even tired, like genuinely. But go ahead.
Bro, so funny enough, just so everybody that I know, in the past month, in 1 month, I wrote 4 books. I wrote them, I published them, released them. They're on all platforms. And the reason why I bring it up is because you want to talk about you staying up late, and fulfillment will drag you if you allow it. Like it would just pull you in. And I remember at least 3 or 4 nights, bro, where everybody in my house had went to sleep early because of school, right? And I was gonna have to go to school those next days as well. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to sleep at 12. And then I would be so deep into the books that it'd be 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'd be like, I can't believe I stayed up this late. But this is what's crazy about it, right? And you talking about being tired and being refreshed. I would be so happy I got as far as I got with what I was doing, right? I would still get up in the morning. I would be at the school, and then I would be enthused to work on it while I was at the school, right? Because fulfillment is the energy. It is what's going to drive you to get things to where they need to be or what you may have anticipated them being. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, and of course, like you want people to buy the book, use the wisdom from the book, but at the time, that alignment and fulfillment wasn't that yet. It might be right now, but at the
Right.
time, it was like I just want to make it. I just want to
I
get
just
this.
want to
This
make
is so cool. I didn't realize I have this to share. I didn't realize that, man, this is, and that's, and I understand, like with the same with song making, like it's almost like you're indebted to the song. Like, man, I gotta complete you in the best way possible. I don't even know if this is gonna go far. I don't even know if I'm gonna let anybody else hear it, but I just know right now, like, this is the most important, amazing, awesome thing that I have to follow.
Yeah, and this is what's funny about the last thing you said. You're right. My intentions were set because I knew that I was going to be fulfilled by writing these books, right? And so much so that in the beginning when I wrote them, I literally told my wife, I was like, I'm not going to promote these books. I'm just doing them just because I didn't even know I could do this. I want to do this much. So again, I got caught up in the whirlwind. And so when I finished book 4 and I actually put out an ad, or I guess a video for it, my wife said, I thought you said you wasn't going to promote these much. And then I thought to myself, I was like, well, I'm not promoting them, am I? You know what I mean? But again, it just goes to show that once I felt fulfilled, I was able to move on something else, but I did it unconsciously just because I allowed myself, the person that I was acting like myself, to lead. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. Similar to that. So like in the back of my mind, I'm like, man, like I got this song, Humble Yourself, out now. I wonder what I can do to push it that's just different or something. I got away. I got away that is almost like genius last night. And of course, there's a price tag attached to it, to what I want to do, which I don't technically have right now. But the thing is, I know that I'm going to get it. Like the same source of that desire is the same source of how it will be completed. And the thing is, I say this to say that you don't even have to worry about the plan, or you be like our divine nature, our higher selves, our God is working on all of that for us. All we have to do is follow the desire, and you're gonna be bombarded with the ideas that help you move toward what you want. And you look up like, this is the how. I didn't even see this way coming. I didn't even know this was possible. Just step into it and follow it, and it'll get you everything you ever wanted.
And I want to add to that, bro. We are great. You are perfect. I'm talking to everybody in this, myself and you. And one of the things that you always say, we are a perfect creation made by a perfect creator. So why don't you just step into your perfection? And the reason why I say that is because in me saying that we're perfect, we are so unique and so complex and so amazing that everything in us is able to foster itself as ideas. And so we go through life all day, every day, having all of these great ideas. Like we just always thinking of stuff. And I don't know this 100%, but I'm just saying that I feel like, based off the people that are around me, everybody always got an idea, because they always telling me ideas too, right? And you want to talk about the easiest way to feel unfulfilled is to never act on your idea. Now, back to this point of acting, I said, who are you acting like? You should be acting like you. And if it was your idea, yours, not anybody else's, it's you, and you never act on it, how could you ever feel fulfilled? And so we go through life having all of these ideas, all of these thoughts, all of this all the time. And when we have hindsight and we start thinking about the ideas that we had or have or we passed up on, that's when that sentiment of unfulfilled starts to become heavier and heavier. And again, I think about that all the time, even when it comes to me writing the books, right? And again, I had no intentions to promote them. I just wanted to do it. But once I got through and I felt fulfilled, the next thought to myself was, oh, you should do an ad for it, right? And then I have all of these great ideas for ads. And every day that goes by that I don't do an ad, I feel it in my gut. I feel it in my gut, bro. And I said that to say this to everybody. I'm not telling you to do things that you don't want to do. I'm not saying start to create stuff that doesn't make sense to you. But if it came to you, then it's yours. And if you don't act on it, you're not acting like you. And that's where the unfulfillment starts to rear its ugly head. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, what's cool about this, I was talking to my wife about this, like how, okay, you know how when you go through something, you get to the other end, you almost like, well, God, why didn't you tell me this was in store? But the truth is, like, we wouldn't have got here if we knew. So, for example, if let's just say God was like, Troy, I want you to write 4 books right now, do it. You like, I gotta write 4 books?
Right
Like,
now?
come on, like, nah, I ain't wrote one yet.
Yeah.
But you that wasn't your. I don't think when I talked to you, you didn't even tell me about 4 books. You told me about 1 book, and then when
That's
you
all it
finished it, you was
was.
like, man, I got another book in. I got 2 more books that's in the works right now. Like, yeah, like it was a whole different mentality than I gotta write 4 books. Like you know, if you knew the whole thing, you might not never get there because it's not meant for you to know right now.
Real talk. And we use that example all the time with this show. If somebody told us, I need y'all to do 5 seasons right now, like I need y'all to do 5 seasons of Perfect Mode right now, the thought process would break us down, right? Just like, you know, me thinking about trying to do 4 books at one time would break us down. But the beautiful part of both stories is the fact that in those moments, me or you, it was both of us, said, this is what's the top of our mind. Regardless of no matter what we need for it, let's just do it. Now we 5 seasons of 4 books and 6 CDs and all of this different stuff because we were really willing to act on us. Now, of course, would we like more viewership? Would we like more listeners? Would we like more buys of books? Of course. Who wouldn't want that? But that wasn't my purpose. And that wasn't what was going to fulfill me because, I mean, I've heard plenty of stories with people with all the money in the world who are unhappy, right? And so I just, you know, I just want to lay that out there to bring to the again, my point back up is what's the top of your mind is what's going to fulfill you. Get it out. But go ahead, Jay.
And to that real quick, we don't got to get into it. I just want to put it up here. One of the also reasons you feel unfulfilled is you've mistaken safety for purpose. It's like you said, like just getting out there, making that first step. You might not want to make it because you're like, I don't know the whole story. I don't know how I'm gonna get all the way to the other side of this, and you're trying to play it safe. You're like, I'm just gonna stay here. I'm just gonna stay at my original point. I'm not gonna leave my house or anything. And you will feel unfulfilled every time if you do that.
I want to add to that too, just real quick. You've mistaken safety for purpose and not moving because of what you anticipate going to happen. This is what's funny about this that whole thing. When we actually do have a thought and we say, you know what, I'm going to fulfill myself by acting this out, the first thing that comes to most people's head is always the end result, off top. And the question you want to ask yourself is, how could I know the end result if I don't even know what tomorrow brings? How could I know the end result if I don't even know what the next few hours brings? And the reason why I say it that way is that even in celebratory thoughts, meaning I know what the outcome is, I want to be a millionaire, right? You could have that same thought process for the next few minutes versus the next day or the next month or the next year. And what you're doing is you're saying, I want this end result, but I'm going to put caution up front too. I'm going to put that as day 1, the next 5 minutes, the next hour, the next month. And so just remember, if you're going to, is the word prognosticate? What that mean? You know what that means? Well, we're going to say prognosticate today, right?
All right.
If you're going to do that, then everything needs to be in your favor, because I promise you, when the thought came to you, it was not unfavorable.
That's true. When you have that thought of enthusiasm, you feel it. You're like, yes, I could do that. And then I've done that to myself where I let, again, fear beat up an idea, and it's like, well, what about this? What about? But it's something about taking that first step. Just take it. Like, just you take nothing else from this show. Take that first step, and then you're gonna be given the second step. Take it. Then you're gonna be given the third. Take it wherever you go. You can always run back if you want to, but you gotta at least go forward to even run back. But then you won't want to. But yeah, go ahead.
And real quick before we get out, prognosticate, to foretell or prophecy a future event. Bam! Let's go.
Man, hey, so I ain't never heard that word. Thank you.
So I want to tell y'all, man, we grateful for y'all. We Without y'all, man, we wouldn't be here. We love doing this. This is what's the top of our mind. This is how I feel fulfilled. I hate when I miss a show, and I'm just grateful for anybody that's willing to share if it helps, and continue to push this positivity and realizing that you're perfect. And Jay, you can go ahead and take us out, baby.
Yeah, appreciate y'all again. We're here every Sunday, 12 noon Central. If you find this helpful, hit that share button, like, subscribe, tell people, like, man, you gotta listen to Perfect Mode. We on all platforms now, Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff. And remember, you're a perfect creation made by a perfect creator. So you might as well accept your perfection and enter perfect mode. Yeah. If I reminded you that you are perfect, would you argue me down or step into your perfection? Welcome to Perfect Mode, where there are no excuses, no expectations, and we explore the world without limitations. I'm Jay Clay, rapper and spiritual teacher, with my co-host Troy Washington, your friendly neighborhood realtor. Let's be real, so let's be perfect.